Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about connective threads. Now I'm going to make a wild guess and think that in most of your essays, usually when you have to write an essay for English, it goes a little something like this. Tell me if I'm wrong though. So usually you read a thing and then you think of a theme. Themes will be different things. You can think about themes, the moral, the message of the story. And then maybe you'll find some evidence, like some quotes. Your teacher might have you highlight some things, or you might take some notes on a worksheet or a notebook paper, something along those lines. And then you write a thing. So like you write the essay, you write your theme analysis essay. That's like how it goes for most people, I'm assuming. I'm assuming for most people it's somewhere along those lines. Now, when you're writing a synthesis, though, that is a little bit different, and synthesis is what we do a lot more of in English 11, because a theme analysis, we kind of drilled that in English 10, but in English 11, it's all about synthesis. And if you think about that word synthesis, synthesis literally means like creating something from other things. You could think about like how in manufacturing, there are often like synthetic materials. Well, a synthesis is kind of similar to that. It's something that's made it's like made from other materials, and your materials in this case would be your sources, the things that you read. So with a synthesis, it would look a little bit something like this. You read many things, and then from those many things you find a connective thread. See, I got that picture of that, that thread right there, that golden thread that weaves between all of your stories that you read or all of the articles that you read. And then with this connective thread, you then write a thing about the connective thread using the evidence from your sources. So instead of just finding a theme about one story, it's almost like you're finding a theme about multiple stories. Like what was the shared theme across several stories that you read or several sources that you have? Now, a connective thread, if it helps you to think about it this way, I want you to imagine something like a book. Now, for a very long time, books were actually sewn together. And for the most part, some books in the modern day actually still are sewn together, like with literal thread. A paperback book, not so much, but some of those hardcover books that you see, some of those are still actually literally sewn together with thread, because it helps everything stay together. So connective thread in your writing then is the thing that's going to keep all of these ideas together, so that way, ideas don't just fall out all over the place. So a connective thread is going to be something that captures the themes and main ideas of all of the sources that you read. Additionally, it can be supported by evidence from your sources. So a connective thread that isn't supported by your evidence, probably not a super good connective thread for that set of evidence. Again, it's going to depend on what evidence you find in the different sources that you have. And then lastly, a connective thread is an idea that is crafted by you. It's not just repeating what a source says. Sometimes we're just lucky. Like sometimes we find that beautiful quote in a story or in an article that really captures the connective thread, but that doesn't happen all the time necessarily. Sometimes we really have to do some work to think about, I have source 1, source 2, and source 3, and they all seem pretty different from one another. What is the common thing amongst all of them though? Or like what is one thing I can say that captures the ideas from all of them? And that is really what the connective thread is. Now this kind of thing is not easy. I don't want you to think that this is necessarily easy. This is a pretty challenging thing. And for those of you who are really good at theme analysis and you can find the theme of a single story, this is kind of like the next level up from that, is being able to do this connective thread analysis or this synthesis, trying to find what is the common message across these different sources. Now, in this current paragraph that you are working on, your thesis is basically the connective thread. So your thesis should be a main message that can be supported by all of the sources that you found. And we have those 3 sources, remember. We've got the TED Talk, we've got Alice Walker's story, and then we also have the song, This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. So a connective thread, a good way to think about that is what is one theme, fact, or lesson that you learned through all of these sources. So if you have any questions about how connective threads work, of course you can always ask me in class, or you can always drop me an email as well, or also, ASR is still a thing as well. So just let me know, and I hope to see what all of your connective threads are.